What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Choose Compassion here. And it's tomorrow, and Minnesota is all across the news. So rather than going into all of the things that you already heard, I'm just going to add in some of the lesser known things that people really have already been talking about. Now, before we get started, I have no dogs in none of this political race. But I think that all of the fraud in Minnesota should be exposed with all the COVID tax dollars that were used. Now, what we do want to focus on here today is Representative Omar's net worth and her husband's net worth. Now, we're looking at their net worth. Representative Omar and her husband's net worth and how that came to be and some of the controversy behind that. And we're also going to show people that were talking about this the last election. But as per the usual, you have group speak, so everyone wants to go there. But I found this interesting. So let's get into it.
This was all about negligence, or that it was like political fear of alienating the Somali community?
So you have to remember that the woman who led the program is a Caucasian woman. And that was her way of making sure that this would continue to happen by using whatever rhetoric that was available to her. We do know that when the money was stopped, they did sue. The AG, Attorney General Keith Ellison, defended the department in that lawsuit. It was a judge that said it should continue, that money should continue to go out. And so this wasn't something that people were not looking at. There was always those alarms, and we will continue to understand where things might have gone wrong as these investigations continue and as these fraudsters are prosecuted and sent to jail.
Well, the lack of accountability.
I am not sure that I heard any type of accountability in that answer. However, that seems to be par for the course these days in politics. And without further ado, let's keep going. Because, child, it don't just be one person. It be all kinds of people working together. For example, let's go into the GOP rep's comments regarding the Attorney General, which is Keith Ellison.
Audio recordings reveal conversations that happened between the Attorney General and individuals who were later implicated and in some cases convicted in the Feeding Our Future scandal. In those recordings, the Attorney General...
Order, Mr. Speaker. Representative Niska.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Attorney General was asked in those recordings to use his authority to protect businesses under investigation for wrongdoing, and rather than distance himself or remain neutral to allow the legal process to unfold, he responded in those recordings, "Of course, I'm here to help."
Mr. Speaker.
Representative Niska.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Attorney General in those recordings even urged the individuals, let's go fight these people. He was offered campaign contributions during that meeting, contributions that he later accepted. The release of those audio recordings raises questions about what's going on in the Attorney General's office that go directly to the need to pass the legislation that we had previously debated, House File 20. Although he has insisted that nothing came of the meeting, his office blocks disclosure of closed investigative
point
data.
of order. Since 124.
The A11 will help ensure that what happens behind closed doors in the Attorney General's office sees the light of day. We can protect people's privacy while shining a light on what the Attorney General's office is doing, who is influencing that office, whether it's those under criminal investigation, nonprofits, corporations, or billionaires with political agendas, because Minnesotans have a right to know when their Attorney General's office is working with them. Minnesotans have a right to know whether the Attorney General is telling the truth, that nothing came of that meeting. That's why the A11 is so important.
Wow. That was wild. See, the buck doesn't just stop with one person. There are so many people involved in this. And I think that if we're going to, show one part of it, we need to show everybody that's involved. Because, child, everybody was dipping in the COVID funds cookie jar. Quit playing. So, anyway, without further ado, now I'm going to present to you Don Samuels, who at last election told everybody, and I don't know, the Democratic Party did not bat an eye, and Ilhan Omar won again. So here's that clip.
So this 5th Congressional District, and we called together this press conference in the wake of yesterday's article in the Minnesota Reformer about my opponent, Representative Omar. She paid her husband, Tim Minette, $3 million of campaign money, and the way her time in office has given his business access and credibility as they've misappropriated more than $1 million in money from South Dakota investors. They left workers unpaid and found the funds frozen by the Office of Foreign Assets Control, the U.S. Treasury Department in charge of enforcing sanctions. Unfortunately, this story is just the latest scandal in a string of new stories about Representative Omar that narrow the focus on her and bring us further from the type of progress our district and our country needs around issues that affect the lives of our neighbors. Representative Omar has used her time, her 3 terms in Congress, what many would consider the opportunity and honor of a lifetime, to divide our community and enrich herself in the process. Minnesota Reformer reporter Max Nestorag's article mentions at least 3 of the businesses that Tim Minette and his partner Will Haler started. The first was their political consultancy, which received an unprecedented sum of money from Representative Omar's 2020 race, where she raked in millions of small dollar contributions from across the country during the election cycle. $3 million was spent with E Street, and a large portion of that money went directly back into her own household. After that, Tim Minette and his business partner, Will Haler, started a winery, a decision made when one of their marketing clients apparently offered them grapes in lieu of money. The winery left its workers unpaid and is currently being sued for breach of contract, a bizarre arrangement where they agreed to return an investment of $300,000 with a return of $900,000 just 18 months later.
So there it is, you guys. If you share any clip, please share the one with Don Samuels because he told us so. And last but certainly not least, we have seen Representative Omar speak as though she is an American citizen. And I think it really is, no shade, honestly, no shade. She is a naturalized citizen. And since I am not a naturalized citizen, I am an American citizen, I'm going to let another nationalized citizen explain this. And she's going to close.
Randy saying, we're on it, we're going to impeach her. When they're saying they're going to deport me, knowing full well that you cannot deport an American citizen.
Ilhan Omar, the cracks are beginning to show. Now that you are on Trump's radar, I think you are starting to become very afraid. You're starting to panic. It looks like you are terrified and you feel some sense of threat. And honestly, you should be. I would like to point out and comment on the last statement that you made in that interview, but I'd also like to correct you on some few things. Yes, you are correct. American citizens cannot be deported, but what you failed to mention is that there are 2 types of American citizens. You failed to make that distinction.
Go ahead.
They are natural-born citizens and they are naturalized citizens, which you and I fall under that category. Both you and I are naturalized citizens, you being a Somalian and I am a Zambian. We became naturalized citizens because we satisfied the requirements needed to pursue citizenship through a legal process. We applied for naturalization because we satisfied all the requirements needed by immigration in order for us to pursue to become citizens. Natural-born citizens cannot be deported. Why? Because they were born here. However, naturalized citizens, we can get our citizenship revoked through a denaturalization process.
Yep.
And how that can come about is if we are being pursued criminally or civically. And it has to go through the federal courts. When they start civil or criminal proceedings, that's where we can run the risk of having our citizenship revoked. Now, you, on the other hand, you are being pursued criminally because it's been alleged that you had committed acts of fraud when it came to applying for your citizenship, for your naturalized citizenship. You had made some statements which were misrepresented, or you had omitted facts, or you did not tell the truth when it came to applying for your citizenship. Now this alleged information has come about that you had lied on your application. That is why you're being pursued criminally. And that's how you may face being deported or having your citizenship revoked because of those things. The problem with you, Ilhan, is I think you've gotten way too comfortable. To be honest with you, you're very cocky.
Very cocky.
You're taking this whole thing for granted. The fact that you are in this country, let me tell you something. Being a U.S. citizen, especially being a naturalized U.S. citizen, that is a privilege. It's not a right. I have a privilege, and I am proud and I am happy. I am grateful that I was awarded and I was afforded that opportunity to be a citizen of this country. America didn't have to do that. They didn't have to grant me a citizenship because I've been in this country. So don't bite the hands that feed you. And for you to be so disrespectful to Trump, the way you talk about this man like he is shit under your shoe, is very disrespectful. Because guess what? You don't have to be here. He can have the right to pursue criminal proceedings to get you out of this country, because time and time again, your actions, the things that you say and you do, show that you are not a loyal citizen of this country.
That's right.
You don't deserve to be an American.
She actually said that she put some
This
So
was
there
all
it
about
is.
negligence,
Let me
or
know
that it
your
was like
thoughts
political
in the
fear
comment
of
section.
alienating
Let's
the
have a
Somali community.
conversation
So
about
you
all
have
of
to
this,
remember
because
that the woman
it is very
who led the
noteworthy
program is a
that
Caucasian woman.
it is not just
And
this.
that was her
If we're going
way
to stop
of making
fraud,
sure
let's
that this would
stop it
continue to
all. Let's
happen by
uncover
using
it
whatever
all.
rhetoric that
Until next
was
time,
available to
sending
her.
love and light.
We